Now that I am done revising the old monsters, let's make something new. The Modrons have been suggested to me, and let me tell you, they aren't going to be easy to start up. First of all, who are the Modrons? In the D&D cosmology, they are the paragons of order, the lawful counterparts to Celestials, Fiends and Sliadi. If you are used to D&D 3.5, then you might not even know that they exist in that edition, as they are very well hidden. First, they appeared in the web enhancement for the Manual of the Planes, and some of them later got updated in Dragon Magazine 354. There's also a 4th edition article about Modrons in Dragon Magazine 414. The lore has changed a little bit between the different editions, but I will try to combine most of the bits into something more or less coherent. There are 14 main types of Modrons, or 15 if you count Primus, their leader. But a few of the 14 main types have secondary variants. In terms of body plan, abilities and mentality, the Modrons are different, so let's start with their common qualities. First of all, the most interesting fact about the Modron physiology is that they are the so-called living constructs that combine organic and clockwork parts. There are multiple different ways you can go about it, but I decided to do the following. Doesn't breathe, doesn't eat or drink, doesn't sleep, immunity to metabolic hazards, injury tolerance no blood and unliving, slow healing 2, temperature tolerance 6, unaging and vacuum support. Thus, unlike the normal constructs, the Modrons do heal naturally, but very slowly, and despite being unliving creatures, they do possess the Vitals hit location. Also, they do possess the FP score, unlike proper machines. Even though I gave them doesn't eat or drink, the Modrons have to imbibe a special psychomorphic substance that can be found on the native plane of Mechanus. They have to do it every 3 months, or else they begin to degrade. This is dependency, psychomorphic substance, rare, seasonally. Let's do the senses. I gave the Modrons dark vision, no sense of smell and taste, and high pain threshold. Their lore says that all of them lack the sense of taste, and most of them lack the sense of smell too, so that'll be the baseline. They do possess tactile sensors, but they can easily disable the feeling of pain, which effectively is equivalent to high pain threshold. Modrons are covered in rigid armor, but the coverage depends on the Modron type in question. Thus, they will have DR, but I will give the DR a nuisance effect, to represent the possibility of striking unarmored fleshy parts. This integral armor plating is also magnetic, so I will give them the affected by magnetism quirk. It seems to me that some Modrons also have glass lenses over their eyes, and that will be an nictitating membrane. Since the limbs always have at least DR3, I will also give the Modrons the striking surface perk, to increase their punching and kicking damage as if they were using brass knuckles. Modron mentality is more difficult. First, they are beings of order and logic. I went with indomitable, immunity to mind control, unfazable, clueless, low empathy and no sense of humor. The main feature of the Modron psyche is that they are completely subservient to Modrons of the immediate superior rank. At first, I wanted to go with a limited version of slave mentality, but that wouldn't work, as they'd have no initiative at all without an order from their supervisors. Instead, I went with extreme fanaticism, Modron hierarchy. There is another gimmick. Modrons are completely unable to comprehend the existence of Modrons that do not belong to the adjacent ranks. Modrons of other ranks are just incomprehensible beings of order to them. I went with delusions. No Modrons outside of the adjacent ranks exist, because it makes communication and chain of command difficult. The Modrons do have a sense of self and their own personalities, but they find the Modron kind in general more important. Thus I went with selfless 6. Other Modrons, depending on their rank, might have other disadvantages such as workaholic, incurious, etc. Finally, we should not forget that the Modrons are an embodiment of order. I will give them the axiomatic touch perk and vulnerability to anarchic weapons. The perk is based on the Holy Touch perk from GURPS Dungeon Fantasy 20 Slayers, and makes all natural weapons count as axiomatic weapons for the purpose of vulnerabilities. So let's get to the Modrons themselves, starting from the bottom of the rank table. First, we have the Monodron, and its messenger Monodron variant. They are small, roughly spherical, have one eye, and are barely intelligent. To represent their utter focus on the task at hand, I gave them single-minded, incurious 6, and workaholic. Their armor plating seems to only have a gap in front that can be targeted at -6. Since they have faces on their torsos, I gave them injury tolerance, no head and no neck. Messenger Monodrones have no arms but have wings instead. Duodrones are next. While it seems that they have heads, I believe that this is closer to a segmented torso, as the arms are coming out of the top part, and both parts are of the same size. So I will keep injury tolerance, no head and no neck. Duodrones are stronger, slightly smarter but less agile. Since their attention is not as focused, I increased the self-control number for incurious from 6 to 9. The Tridrones finally graduate to being size modifier +0 creatures and having human tier intelligence. They look like a D4 upside down with 6 legs and 3 arms. I gave them extra arm 1, extra legs 6 legs and extra attack 1. Since the arms are all primary, I also gave them ambidexterity. They have one eye and one mouth on each side. This means extra mouth 2 and 360 degrees vision, but with no depth perception, as they cannot perceive something with 2 eyes at the same time. They seem to be less fully covered in armor, so I decreased the penalty to target the fleshy parts from -6 to -4, and remove the frontal attack requirement. In terms of mentality, I increased the self-control number for incurious from 9 to 12. Quadrones are cube-shaped, but they have sensory organs on all sides, so they retain 360-degree vision. They are as armored as duodrones and have armored lenses. They are as intelligent as an average human and not as focused as tridrones, so I removed single-minded and hidebound. Some quadrones have vestigial wings, but some of them have fully functional wings. Now let me digress a bit. A Modron of any rank can go rogue for one reason or another. Such Modrons are hated by the normal Modrons and are exterminated on sight. However, some Modrons realize that they have gone rogue and petition to be exiled instead. Such Modrons are transformed into a creature that resembles a Quadron and are set free. They are cut off from their psychomorphic energy source and are removed from the Modron hierarchy. As such, they lose some advantages, but they also lose many disadvantages. For some reason, they only have 2 eyes, unlike the normal Quadrons. And they also get the combat paralysis disadvantage. In D&D, they were supposed to be a player character race, but in GURPS they end up being very expensive. Pentadrones are the highest ranked Modrons of the base caste. They look like clockwork starfish on 5 legs. Each arm of the starfish has an eye and a mouth. For the purpose of mechanics, I'll treat each arm as an actual arm, with extra flexible and no fine manipulators. The number of mouths is increased to 4. I decided to give them thicker armor in addition to large size and strength bonus. Pentadrones also possess an ability to exude a cloud of paralysis gas or use the gas as a reactive thruster. Now we're done with the base Modrons. The high caste of the Modron society is the Hierarch Modrons. The higher the rank, the more humanoid they are, and they possess many different abilities. The lowest Hierarch Modron is the Decaton, that looks like a sphere on 2 legs with 10 eyes and 10 tentacles and 1 mouth at the top. For Hierarch Modrons, I decided to remove Incurious and decrease slow healing from 2 to 1. Finally, they can communicate telepathically via the Telescent advantage, and have some spell-like abilities: Command, Minor Healing, Repair and Teleport. Nonatones are next on the rank ladder. They have cylindrical bodies with 2 eyes and 2 mouths. Yet again, I have to return no depth perception. They have 3 legs and 9 tentacles. Unlike the Decatons, they cannot fly. and their set of spell-like abilities is aimed at detecting alignment auras and plane shifting instead of mending wounds. Octons are very similar. In terms of the body plan, they have a ring that houses 8 tentacles instead of 9, and they have 2 legs. Their spell-like abilities are fewer in number, and for some reason they get static Psi. I don't mind that. Septons is where hierarch Modrons become more or less humanoid. They have a proper head and face now, but still no neck. We abolish the all-around vision, lose the ability to fly, but retain psionics immunity. Finally, Septons get a nose. So, while they still have no sense of taste, now at least they can smell. In addition, Septons get a constantly active ability to see magic auras. Hextons become more humanoid. They lose their tentacled collar, gain a neck, and in addition to 2 normal arms get 4 clawed tentacles sprouting from their backs and a pair of wings. Quintons become 4-armed humanoids with a prehensile tail. They get an extra IQ bonus and heavier armor plating. In terms of special abilities, they regain their ability to see magical, evil, and good auras. Quartons lose their prehensile tail, become faster flyers, lose their aura sight ability, and gain an ability to project force walls. Technically speaking, all the hierarch Modrons were supposed to have this ability, but I decided to reserve it to the higher rank ones. Tertians only have 2 arms and a tail that ends in a mace-like growth. They are more intelligent than the Quartons, but have lost their ability to fly. The Secondi lose the tail, regain the ability to fly, but without wings this time, and expand their array of spell-like abilities with something you have already seen before. They are at the top of the ladder, second only to Primus, their quasi-divine entity that rules the Modrons. And that's it. Personally, I have never used Modrons in my games before, but I would like to try that. I have always liked the concept. So, have fun, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.